Mitsuki called himself the Moon. He said Boruto was his sun. That devotion wasn't poetic, it was everything. His identity, his purpose, the reason he existed. And then Kawaki tore it away with 2 words through Eida's omnipotence, and Mitsuki's entire soul rewrote itself around a lie. Now he believes Kawaki is the sun, the person who gives him meaning, the light he orbits. Except Kawaki doesn't care. Kawaki barely looks at him. Mitsuki chases after someone who manipulates him, devalues him, uses him as a pawn, and Mitsuki can't even see it. He's trapped inside an illusion so deep it's become his reality. When Boruto tries to reach him, Mitsuki attacks with everything he has. Sage mode, snake venom, fury born from believing Boruto killed the person he loves most. The tragedy isn't the fight, it's that Mitsuki doesn't remember why he ever cared about Boruto at all. But Boruto stops mid-battle and says something that cracks the foundation of the lie. You don't need a sun to shine. Simple words, devastating impact. Because somewhere buried beneath Omnipotence's rewrite, the real Mitsuki hears it. The boy who once stood beside Boruto as an equal, not a satellite, flickers back to life for just a second. That line might be the key to everything. The moment that breaks Kawaki's hold and reminds Mitsuki that devotion built on false memories isn't love. It's a cage, but that's just the start. Here's how it all unravels. When Eida's omnipotence activated, it didn't just swap Boruto and Kawaki's places in the world's memory, it rewrote relationships at the soul level. Everyone who loved Boruto now loves Kawaki. Everyone who trusted Boruto now hunts him. Mitsuki's case is different and crueler. His bond with Boruto wasn't casual friendship. It was existential. Mitsuki, a synthetic being created by Orochimaru, spent his early life questioning whether he even had free will. Meeting Boruto gave him an answer. Boruto became his sun, the fixed point around which his life could orbit, the person who gave his existence meaning. That wasn't weakness. It was the purest form of loyalty Mitsuki knew how to express. Omnipotence didn't erase that loyalty. It redirected it. Mitsuki still needs a sun. He still craves that guiding light, but now he believes Kawaki is that person. The programming is so complete that Mitsuki's memories, emotions, and instincts all align perfectly with this false reality. He doesn't remember standing beside Boruto during missions. He doesn't recall the trust they built. He believes with absolute conviction that Kawaki is the one who gave his life purpose, and that Boruto is the enemy who tried to destroy it. Chapter 6 makes this devastatingly clear. Mitsuki confronts Kawaki first, paralyzing him with snake venom, not to kill him, but because Kawaki's recklessness puts him in danger. Mitsuki's trying to protect his son. Then he turns on Boruto with the full fury of Sage Mode, convinced Boruto is the villain who murdered Kawaki. The fight is brutal because Mitsuki isn't holding back. He's fighting to avenge the person he believes he loves most. And Boruto? He could win. He's stronger now, faster, more experienced. But he doesn't fight back with full force. He defends, he dodges, he pleads, because he's not fighting Mitsuki. He's fighting the lie that's consuming him. When Boruto finally stops and tells Mitsuki he doesn't need Kawaki to shine, it's not a tactical move. It's desperation. It's trying to reach the real person buried beneath the rewritten memories. The cruel irony deepens when you see how Kawaki treats Mitsuki. Kawaki barely acknowledges his loyalty. He uses Mitsuki when convenient, dismisses him when not. There's no reciprocation, no gratitude, no bond. Mitsuki orbits a sun that gives off no warmth. And slowly, that indifference is creating cracks. Mitsuki's devotion remains absolute, but the dissonance between what he believes Kawaki represents and how Kawaki actually treats him is chipping away at Omnipotence's hold. Mitsuki's arc isn't about power. It's about identity stolen and slowly reclaimed. The parallel to Orochimaru's sin is perfect. Orochimaru created Mitsuki as a synthetic being, shaping him according to a design, giving him purpose from the outside rather than letting him discover it within. Mitsuki's entire journey in the original series was learning to choose his own path despite being someone else's creation. Now, Omnipotence has stripped that growth away. He's once again a construct shaped by external forces, his will bent to serve someone else's design. Kawaki didn't create Mitsuki, but through Eida's power, he rewrote him just as thoroughly as Orochimaru ever did. The moon and sun symbolism carries devastating weight here. In Naruto, that imagery represented balance. Naruto and Sasuke, two halves of a whole, each incomplete without the other. Mitsuki adopting that language for his relationship with Boruto was beautiful because it suggested equality hidden inside devotion. The moon doesn't exist to serve the sun. It has its own light, reflected and transformed. Mitsuki saw himself as complementary to Boruto, not inferior. But omnipotence perverted that. Now Mitsuki is a moon orbiting a false sun that doesn't illuminate anything. He's trapped in dependency, not partnership. The bond that once elevated him now diminishes him. Boruto's refusal to fight back reveals his growth in ways combat never could. The old Boruto might have tried to beat sense into Mitsuki to overpower the illusion with force, but this Boruto understands something deeper. You can't punch someone out of a lie that's rewritten their soul. You have to remind them who they really are. When he tells Mitsuki, you don't need a sun to shine, he's not rejecting their bond. He's trying to free Mitsuki from the idea that his value depends on someone else. It's the opposite of what Kawaki represents. Kawaki wants control, wants people dependent on his vision of protection. Boruto wants Mitsuki to be whole on his own terms. The cracks in Omnipotence's hold suggest the awakening is coming, but it won't be clean. Mitsuki's disillusionment with Kawaki's indifference is creating cognitive dissonance. The false memories say Kawaki is his son, but lived experience contradicts that narrative. Eventually, something will break. The theory about Kashin Koji being the catalyst makes sense. Koji's entire existence revolves around perceiving truth through his abilities. If anyone can pierce through Omnipotence's reality distortion and force Mitsuki to confront the gap between what he believes and what actually happened, it's him. The potential sacrifice looms over everything. Mitsuki's arc has always been about finding worth in himself beyond being someone's creation or someone's devotee. If his awakening leads to a moment where he chooses to protect Boruto, not because Boruto is his son, but because Boruto is his friend and that choice is his own, it completes the journey. Shining with his own light doesn't mean abandoning the people you care about. It means choosing to stand beside them as an equal, not a satellite. This ties back to Itachi and Sasuke in a twisted mirror. Itachi manipulated Sasuke emotionally to guide him down a specific path, believing it was for Sasuke's own good. Sasuke spent years breaking free from that manipulation, learning to make choices that weren't defined by Itachi's design. Mitsuki is facing the same struggle, except his manipulator doesn't even care about him. Kawaki isn't guiding Mitsuki out of love or misguided protection. He's just benefiting from Eida's accidental gift of Mitsuki's loyalty. That makes the betrayal sharper. Mitsuki's devotion is being exploited by someone who offers nothing in return. If Boruto saves Mitsuki the way Naruto saves Sasuke, not with power, but with connection that refuses to break even when the other person can't remember why it matters, it'll be the emotional climax this arc needs. And if Mitsuki's awakening breaks Omnipotence's hold even partially, it proves something crucial. False realities can't survive against genuine bonds forged through choice, not programming. But if Mitsuki falls before that, awakening completes. If he sacrifices himself still half lost in Kawaki's shadow, then Boruto isn't just fighting to clear his name anymore. He's fighting to honor the memory of someone who died without ever remembering why they mattered to each other. And that might be the tragedy that finally pushes Boruto past the breaking point.